second acceptance of the report as, as moved, sir.
Senator Wakil, what is moved? I don't understand.
The report on ethics as moved by distinguished Senator Anyao.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition in respect of petition from Dr. Ede Tukong and the petition from Inspector Solomon Ojo Dali. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Samayo, come and lay the report. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the ninth business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Debt Fund on the Maritime University of Nigeria, Okore Konko, Establishment ETC Bill 2017. Mr. President, we wish to invite distinguished Senator Ibrahim Barrow, Chairman of the Committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Barrow Jibril.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, my name is Barrow I. Jibril. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, I move that this August Senate do receive the report of the Committee of Tertiary Institution and Third Form, the Maritime University, Okoro Koko, Establishment ETC Bill 2017 SB 295. Mr. President, I so move.
Senator Theodore Ojib, Abia Central.
Your Excellency, Senate President, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Theodore Ojib. I represent Abia Central. I urge support by my colleague as presented.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Ted Fund on the Maritime University of Niger, Okereko, etc. Establishment Bill 2017 SB 295. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Jibril, come and lay the report. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President C for the confirmation of the nominations of the following persons for appointment as members of the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC in accordance with Section 2, Subsection 2A of the NDDC Act 2000. The names are 1. Lucky Orimisan Aye Datua, Non-Executive Director, Ondo State. 2. Ono Wichuka Ama Nuahua, Non-Executive Director, Imo. And 3. Umwogu N. Umwogu, Non-Executive Director, Abia. Mr. President, distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President C&C to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President C&C for the confirmation of the nominations of persons listed on the order paper for appointment as members of the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion moved by the leader that the Senate do consider the request of the Commander-in-Chief for confirmation of certain persons in the report of the NDC. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President CNC on the confirmation of the nomination of the persons listed members of Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This matter is referred to the Committee on Niger Delta and report back in 2 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is a motion standing in the name of Senator Chukwuka Utazi on the harmonizing the different versions and copies of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in circulation into one authentic whole. Mr. President, you may wish to invite very distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi to move the motion.
Senator Utazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Chukwuka Utazi. I represent the good people of Enugu North Central District of Enugu State. I rise to move motion motion harmonizing the different versions and copies of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in circulation into one authentic whole. This Senate recognizes that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria came into force on May 29, 1999, with 8 chapters, 320 sections, and 7 schedules. Aware that the Constitution of any country is the ground norm, from which all other laws, instruments, and institutions derive the authority, legitimacy, and powers. This Senate is aware that since 1999, the Constitution has successfully gone through 3 alterations in July 2010, November 2010, and March 2011, respectively. And in each case, are many various provisions to bring them in conformity with contemporary democratic practice and realities. This Senate concerned that these alterations are printed as separate provisions, and there has not been an attempt to embed and grab them into the Constitution as one whole living document. This Senate worried that there are different versions of the original 1999 Constitution, and the 3 alterations with various copies in circulation, worried that the Constitution is the heartbeat of the nation, and its provisions should not be subjected to the caprices of printers who are allowed to have different words and structure. This Senate are aware, for instance, that in some versions, Section 84 ends with subsection 6, while in other versions, the same Section 84 ends with subsection 7. While the first alteration has provided for subsection 8 of Section 84. This is also true of Section 66(1)H, which was deleted by Section 2 of the first alteration Act, but which some versions of the Constitution still retain. There are many other mix-ups, and this creates confusion for lawyers, judges, law students, other practitioners, legislators at various levels, those who consult our Constitution to determine the state of the law and the general public. This is a concern that the existence of various versions of the Constitution makes it an unreliable source of law, weights down its force as the fundamental authority for all laws in Nigeria, and does not make for certainty of its provisions, dilutes its potency in the hierarchy of laws, and makes it susceptible to misinterpretation by decision makers who want to take advantage of the situation. Accordingly, this Senate resolves to mandate the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to liaise with National Judicial Council, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Law Reform Commission to constitute a law review committee to withdraw the copies of the different versions of the Constitution in circulation, and authorize the printing and distribution of the authentic consolidated Constitution of the Federation with different alterations embedded where they belong, to make the Constitution one whole document to guide the generality of Nigerian populace and international community. Mr. President, last month, I brought this motion, this issue on order 42 on personal explanation, wherein when we had the defense of the budget from some MDAs under us, and they came here with different versions of constitution that caused confusion and made us to go into arguments of which part of the constitution is true or not. And here you see these versions here. All of them are different. If you see this one, you pick it, you check from this one, it will be totally different. I have taken it upon myself with my office to compile all the alterations in the first, second, and third alterations into this, which we are going to present to the Senate Committee on Judiciary with a view to causing it to come into one authentic document. I so move.
Senator Wamako.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I am Aliyu M. Wamako, the Secretary of the State. I would like to fund the motion that's heavily moved by Senator Tertiary. And it's only I want to state that this motion is so straightforward, it's so clear that it doesn't need further debate. I therefore upon the motion that this is the part has been suggested by Senator Tertiary. I so strong.
Distinguished colleagues, I totally agree that this matter is pretty straightforward. I think it's clearly the message being done, and I think that on the part of government, they should find a way to harmonize and ensure that there's only one authentic version that is printed. And so we'll go straight to what is being requested, is that the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Legal Matters liaise with the National Judicial Council, Office of the Attorney General, Law Reform Commission, Constitutional Law Reform Committee to ensure to withdraw the copies of different versions of the Constitution in circulation and authorize the printing and distribution of the authentic consolidated Constitution of the Federation with the different alterations embedded where they belong to make Constitution one whole document to guide the generality of the people and populace in the international community. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So please ensure, Chairman Judiciary, just to ensure that this thing is tidied up. I think it's all largely the administration of where different versions are being printed. I think if we sit down, work with both the Attorney General and all the statutory government, let's try and ensure that we have one authentic constitution circulation. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is a motion standing in the name of very distinguished Senator Benga Ashafa on the urgent need for the Nigeria Police Force and other security agencies to intervene in the increased rate of kidnapping in the Lagos East Senatorial District and skewer the waterways. Mr. President, we wish to invite distinguished Senator Benga Ashafa to move the motion.
Senator Benga Ashafa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Benga Shafa, representing Lagos Senatorial District. I write this morning to present a motion on the urgent need for the Nigerian Police Force and other security agencies to intervene in the increased rate of kidnapping in the Lagos East Senatorial District and also to secure the waterways. Note with urgent and grave concern the recent increase in the activities of criminal syndicates who specialize in kidnapping and militant activities in and around communities in the Lagos East Senatorial District, particularly Ushofe, Epe, Ikorodu, Ibeduleki local government areas. Concerned that the activities of these criminals have forced law-abiding residents of the coastal stroke riverine communities of the affected communities to flee their areas and leave their livelihood out of fear. Further concerned that on Friday, 7th April 2017, one Mr. Didamola Salami, a 42-year-old flank dealer, was kidnapped in his community in the Beguleki area of Lagos East Senatorial District by 7 daredevil abductors who escaped in a gunboat via the river. The abductors have now demanded the sum of 100 million naira as ransom for his release. Note that the situation is now so bad that even prominent citizens of this community, including the Royal Highness Kabiyesi Onise of Ife, has had to vacate the community due to the level of insecurity in the area. Disturbed that for the past 7 years, a divisional police station commissioned in Ife had been a ghost of itself, as no police officers were deployed there until the recent attack. Recalls that the Tribune online newspapers of 23rd February 2017 reported the case of 2 sand dredgers who were kidnapped in Ibejuleki by militants who also stormed the community in a gunboat. Further recalls that between April and July 2016, there were reports of militant activities in some communities in Ikorodu, including Elekwete, Ishawo, and Igolomu, which led to the death of some residents. These militants were equally reported to have stormed the communities through the creeks using gunboats. Alarmed that the recent kidnap incidents have assumed a totally new and disturbing dimension, in the sense that just yesterday, 9th April 2017, an army captain identified as Mohammed, 2 other ranked soldiers, 4 policemen, and a civilian lost their lives after suspected militants attacked Ishawo in the Ikorodu area of Lagos State. The late security operatives were reporting to a distress call after the militants stormed and kidnapped some residents of Woodland Estates close to the Ishawo Creeks with about 10 speedboats, according to reports released online. It was also reported that other innocent citizens who were seriously injured are now receiving treatment at the Ikorodu General Hospital. Observes that the activities of these criminal syndicates have caused untold hardship to the people of Lagos East Senatorial District, and the intervention of the federal government is urgently required. Accordingly, resolves to 1. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately instruct the Commissioner of Police Lagos State to beef up the strength of the task force already on ground in order to effectively secure all the affected creeks and communities. 2. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately make available sufficient helicopters for aerial surveillance and gunboats to the Marine Police Department of the Lagos State Police Command in order to enable the State Command effectively to tackle the activities of the militants. 3. Urge the Army, Navy, and other security agencies to assist the Nigerian Police Force in its quest to rid Lagos State, particularly the creeks in Lagos East Senatorial District, of criminal syndicates making use of its waterways to perpetuate crime. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to add the last part of this prayer, which is to observe a minute silence in honor of the gallant soldiers, policemen, and other citizens who lost their lives in the attack of Saturday, 9th April 2017. I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator Ledani.
upsurge is not restricted to Lagos State alone. There has been an upsurge in criminal activities even in Abuja here. Only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, a relation of mine and his wife were kidnapped right here in Guarimpa. They were taken away to somewhere in Suleja and ransom had to be paid before they were released. Similarly, the owner of one filling station right here in Guarimpa was also kidnapped and taken away somewhere. Ransom had to be paid before he was eventually released. And similar other incidences of rampant cases of kidnapping and other criminal activities. One chance assault. So there is a need for us to be vigilant. There is a need for security agencies to be more vigilant. And there is a need for the citizen to be enlightened as to the activities of these hoodlums, of these militants, and of these criminals. I think there is a need for the State Security Service and the Nigerian police to rise to their responsibilities to ensure that they are able to apprehend all those who are engaged in these kidnapping activities. And the interesting thing is that they use communication system in order to communicate with the abductors, between the abductors, the victims, relations, and friends. And these are gadgets that can easily be monitored. I believe the State Security Service and the Nigerian police have the equipment for monitoring these activities using the latest technological devices. So one wonders why these activities are on the increase when we have the necessary backing or the necessary technological devices for apprehending them. But in case they don't, there is a need therefore for government to increase the budget of the State Security Service and the police in order to empower them to be able to arrest these people and to bring them to book. I support this motion and I pray that we should not restrict the prayer only to Lagos State but to the entire country. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, I think this is a straightforward motion. We just go to the prayer. Prayer 1. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately instruct the Commissioner of Police Lagos State to immediately beef up the strength of the task force already on ground in order to effectively secure all affected creeks and communities. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately make available sufficient helicopters for area surveillance and gunboats to the Marine Police Department of the Lagos State Police Command to enable the State Command effectively tackle the activities of the militants. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. To urge the Army, Navy, and other security agencies to assist the Nigerian police in its quest to rid Lagos State, particularly the creeks in Lagos East Tertiary District, of criminal syndicates making use of the waterways to perpetrate crime. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. Additional prayer. Yes, Senator Lindani.
Urge the federal government to assist the security agencies to extend its surveillance activities to Abuja and other affected and other parts of the federation in order to make the activities of these kidnappers.
In second, Senator Idoko.
Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected colleagues, my name is Senator Atai Aidugwali. I represent Kogi East. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator, the amendment to the additional prayer. that the surveillance will cover Abuja and other parts of the country. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the additional prayer, FGN to assist the security agents to extend the surveillance activities to Abuja and other parts of the country. Those in favor of this additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition in respect of A. Petition from Trade Law, TRLP Law, on behalf of Senator Buruji Kashamu against the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Mr. Ahmad Yade, and the Attorney General of the Federation for alleged intention to abduct Senator Buruji Kashamu and forcibly transport him to the United States without recourse to due process. B. Petition from Hyacinth Ohoronye against the Nigerian Police Force for alleged wrongful dismissal from the force. C. Petition from Collins Chinyanyarem Odio against the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, for alleged wrongful dismissal from the corporation. And D. Petition from ex-corporal Kamal Haruna against the Nigerian Police Force for alleged unjust dismissal from the force. Mr. President, distinguished senators will recall that these reports were laid on Thursday, 10th March 2016 and Thursday, 6th April 2017 respectively. Mr. President, we wish to invite Senator Samuel Anyau to move the motion for the Senate to consider the report of the committee.
Senator Samayang.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Sam Ayong. I represent Imo East, Imo State. With the leave of Mr. President and Senate, I move that the Senate do consider the report of the Committees on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions in respect of A. Petition from TRLP Law on behalf of Senator Buruji Kashamu against NDLEA, former Chairman of NDLEA, Mr. Ahmad Yadi, and the Authority of the Federation for alleged intention to adopt Senator Buruji Kashamu and forcefully transport him to USA without recourse to due process. B. Petition from Hyacinth Ahuroni against Nigeria Police Force for alleged wrongful dismissal from the force. C. Petition from Collins Chinyanyarem against Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, for alleged wrongful dismissal from the corporation. And D. Petition from ex-corporal Kamal Haruna against Nigeria Police Force for alleged unjust dismissal from the force. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Adesoji Akombi.
Oyo South, Nigeria District. I hereby write to support the second neutral group by Senator Sam Ayang. Mr. President, I so support. Thank you. Distinguished those in favor of the Senate do consider the report of the Committees on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition in respect of the petitions as listed by Chairman of Ethics and Privileges say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Sam, present the report. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to go through the entire report of the first.
Testifying, TRLP Law, a law firm, are represented by Prince Ajibola Oluyede, stated that one, that he wrote the petition in his capacity as the solicitor to Senator Buruji Keshamu for the intervention of the Senate against the continual breach of the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, 1999, by NJLA, the Nigeria Federation, and the former chairman of NJLA, Ahmed Giadi, in collaboration with foreign agents and some politicians, to adopt and transport Senator Buruji to the United States for prosecution for alleged drug offenses while he was in the USA. Two, that Senator Buruji had no case to answer in the USA or UK, since he was arraigned by these countries in several trials that exonerated him from any involvement with drug matters. Three, that back home, the Nigerian courts have also exonerated him on the basis that the allegations of narcotic offenses were false and that the whole thing was a case of mistaken identity, that it was his brother, one Alhaji Adewale Kashamu, that was involved in the narcotic matters, not himself. Four, that desperate politicians have been pressurizing the Attorney General of the Federation to resuscitate the U.S. indictment against Senator Kashamu in Nigeria to instigate an extradition process against him on this same baseless accusation. Five, that to get the process kickstart, NDL officials on 23rd May 2014 invaded Senator Kashamu's house and then siege for about 6 days while he was locked in the toilet. Six, that recently it came to the knowledge through a text message from an insider in NJLA that the agency was making arrangements to arrest, kidnap, adopt Senator Kashamu and extradite him to US, that the AGF had several times advised NJLA to stop this action as the matter was in court. And seven, that the Senate should intervene and stop the incessant harassment, breach of Senator Buruji Kashamu's fundamental human rights, and threat to kidnap him in order to transport him to the US for prosecution. Respondents, NJLA, Attorney General of Federation, and Mr. Giade, former NJLA chairman, all present in the committee. Speaking for NJLA, Mr. Giade himself and Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, stated that he would not be able to make any submissions on the matters raised in the petition because the cases were in various courts in Nigeria. Two, that though he would support the Senate in the cause of ensuring that the rule of law prevailed, he was unable to address the issue raised by the petitioner, as doing so would amount to a violation of the sub judice principle, especially as comment from him on the matter as a party to the proceedings could potentially have an effect on hearing of the matters in court. And three, that the matter should have been channeled through the Judicial Council. Observations of findings. After listening fully to the petitioner and respondents, having painstakingly considered their submissions, the committee has observed as follows: that the respondent did not fully understand the kernel of the matter, which has to do with an inside information as raised by the petitioner, and had to explain to them, saying that the aspect of Senator Kashamu's matter referred to the committee for consideration and intervention was the constant threat or effort to get Kashamu adopted by the AGF, local and foreign collaborators, in order that he might be shipped abroad, not narcotic cases in various courts. Two, this view now understood, the committee noted that the respondents need to stay action on their case, arrest, kidnapping, adoption of Senator Kashamu Buruji to allow the legislator concentrate on his duties to the nation. Three, that it was only natural for the petitioner to disregard the text message by so-called insider in NDLA, as it was not admissible anywhere, and also noted that NDLA need not to overlook the question of internal conspiracy within it, since the intention, it appears, was how to extort money from the Senator Kashamu. Recommendation: having exhausted deliberations on the matter, taking into consideration views of the petitioner and the respondents, the committee hereby recommends as follows. One, that the concerned agencies and authorities be advised to stop threatening or carrying out any activities to extradite Senator Buruji Kashamu to the United States of America for prosecution. And two, that the courts be allowed to handle the various aspects of the case before them without any interference. The Senate may wish to consider and adopt the considerations of the committee as proposed. Thank you, Mr. President and his colleagues, for the opportunity to serve. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I need to also explain that after the committee deliberation, it was unanimously decided, both the Attorney General of the Federation and the NDLEA that they stay action until the outcome of the court. That is the position, Mr. President.
It's a straightforward. Yes.
Distinguished colleagues, we just go to recommendation. I think based on your just your last comments now, I can really see that the recommendation before us is that all actions that the courts be allowed to really recommendation 2, that the courts be allowed to handle the various aspects of the case before them. I think that's the prayer. So I'll put that recommendation. Those in favor that the recommendation 2, that the courts be allowed to handle various aspects of the case. Those in favor of that say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Second report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, the Senate will recall that on Wednesday, 18th May 2016, rising on order 41, Senator Jibrin Barrow, I don't know how to spell, so I don't call her nothing. Barrow